Hi, I'm Beryl, and this is how I have been drinking black tea recently. I steep ginger and peach black tea bags in hot water, add this amazing passion fruit jam, add ice, and stir to cool it down. It is sweet, it is a little sour, and I love how refreshing it is. The thing is, I know that around the world, there are tons of different variations of black tea drinks, so today we are looking at 5 black tea beverages from 5 countries. Let's get started.
Hi, my name's Charlie and I live in Berkshire in England. And today I want to introduce you to my favourite tea, which is builder's tea. For this, you want to find your biggest, most comforting mug, fill it with strong black tea, and then add milk of your choice and sugar to taste. Personally, I love a dash of oat milk and a teaspoon of demerara sugar or caster sugar. The reason I love this tea is it's energizing but also comforting because it's warm. You can have it on a rainy day or coming back from work after a hot day. You can have it to socialise with friends, that whole sort of pop on the kettle thing, or even to comfort someone who's been through a loss or a breakup. This is really a tea for any occasion, and it really brings people together while also tasting absolutely delicious. Tea is a very culturally important thing for me as a British person. Also with my Sri Lankan heritage as well, tea sort of runs through my veins. And frankly, I can't think of a single day in my 21 years of life where, I haven't been at least near someone who's drinking tea at some point in that day. I think that outside of the UK, most people think of tea in England as this very posh, very aristocratic endeavour. And while there is a place for that in British society, this is the tea that people make day in and day out. This is your breakfast tea. This is your truly English tea.
I have my builder's tea with, I can't do air quotes, hold on. Digestives, aka this is a cookie. You can't tell me this is not a cookie. Digestive makes me think it's going to be healthy. Okay, maybe there's a bit of wheat flour in there, but you dip it in chocolate and okay, sure. It's a digestive. One of the things that I've been called out for on this channel is oh, you always do the kind of more rare versions of things. That's not how most people do it. So okay, here we go. This is just, I think, the most traditional way to have black tea. Milk and sugar. Boom. I made it into a video. Of course there's a lovely story to it. And obviously I've had this before. Let's try it though. Oh God, it was hot. Ooh. It's nice, oh God, I really burned my tongue. This is why you can't have nice things. All right, let's try one of these healthy digestives. Oh, well, okay. It's not a full cookie, but the chocolate, the chocolate melts with the tea. That's kind of nice. Ooh, I was talking a little bit of smack about this, but it's pretty good. I feel though I barely dunked this and this is really soft. You've got to be Lightning McQueen with this. Just a quick dunk. Otherwise, the kind of stability of this digestive is just, you're going to be having a cup of tea full of floating little crumbs. My question for all of you Brits, what is the order that you think is right to do this? Because I have been told a few things. For this one, I did water, tea out, milk, and then sugar. I've seen it before where the milk goes in first. I mean, I don't know. Maybe there is no right and wrong way, but I have a feeling that there are also strong opinions. So let me know in the comments what you think the correct order is. I'm honestly very curious. The last thing I wanted to say, because I do know if anyone likes my teacup, this is made by The Pursuit of Happiness, and I will leave a link to it in the comments. I don't know, sometimes people ask.
Hi, my name is Sheneli and I'm from Sri Lanka. So my favorite way of having tea is by infusing ginger into black tea and adding a little condensed milk. I think it's such a boost of energy and helps you liven your senses. So first you add the tea bags or dry tea leaves into a teapot. I personally prefer authentic Ceylon tea plucked from the estates of Nuwara, which is one of the most beautiful places in Sri Lanka. Anyway, while the tea is brewing, add about 4 to 5 thin slices of ginger and let it infuse with the tea for about 5 minutes. Strain the tea into a mug of your choice and add about 1 or 2 teaspoons of condensed milk. Ginger gives that additional zing or boost into your system, whereas condensed milk makes it rich and creamy. Tea has been a part of our culture since 1824, which is a very long time, when the British brought the first tea plant from China to Sri Lanka, or as we used to call it back in the days, Ceylon. Hence the name Ceylon tea. Tea is a symbol of hospitality and warm welcoming. For example, when a visitor comes to our home, the way we say that you are welcome into our home is by saying, "Come in, let me make you a fresh cup of tea." So I hope you give this a try and I hope you enjoy it. Thank you.
Anything with condensed milk, I know I'm going to love. And this, honestly, it gave me like a little bit of a flashback to my ginger episode when I was peeling the ginger and I was like, but it was a very small amount of ginger, so we were okay. It smells really nice. It smells like condensed milk, so that's why it smells good. Ooh. What's so interesting to me about this idea of black tea is like there are so many ways to dress it up and give it that little bit of pizzazz that is going to be special from country to country. Here, that hit of ginger with that very creamy sweetness of the condensed milk is this awesome combination of like gentle and stinging. Stinging sounds not good, but like ginger is stinging. You know what I mean? I like this, like it's relaxing, but I also feel like it is invigorating. I totally get that. Overall, I would say super yummy, a really nice balance of flavors, and obviously like very easy to make.
Hi, my name is Bryanna. I recently moved to New York, but I'm originally from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. The tea that I'm sharing doesn't have a particular name, but I do refer to it as just my grandmother's tea because it's how she made it. So first you brew a normal black tea. Black tea I think my grandmother appreciated most because it was a little strong like coffee. Once you're done with the tea, you pour enough evaporated milk until it's nice and creamy looking and tan, and then you sweeten it with honey to taste, and you can also add a little bit of nutmeg at the end to finish it off. I think that this tea has a little bitterness because of the black tea, but then with the evaporated milk you get this like creaminess that kind of reminds you of kind of the sweetness that you get from a condensed milk when you add the honey in there. And then the nutmeg is just a little extra touch to just kind of add a little spice and something different. Tea is a way of life in the South, and as my grandmother got older, we would share a tea together and we'd eat pan-fried biscuits, and we'd have fig jam out of the garden because we lived in the South and she had a really big beautiful garden. And it's just a way for you to just enjoy life, look out the window, listen to the birds, begin your day, and just appreciate all of the small things in life. People have been making this for generations in my family, and it's just something really simple, and it will forever be the way that I make my black tea when I'm at home thinking about my grandmother.
I like when recipes come in that are not necessarily always representative of a common dish or drink in a country, but representative of somebody and their families. So I'm excited to try Bryanna's grandmother's recipe. I mean, everything combined, what's not to like? Honey, yum. Nutmeg, yum. Evaporated milk, yum. It smells very comforting, like a rainy, foggy day. But maybe that's just what I think nutmeg smells like. This one's hot. I'm not making that same mistake as I did with the builder's tea. Oh, you know what we haven't played for a while? What's in my bookshelf? I'm gonna show you 2 things that I really like in my bookshelf right now while we wait for this to cool down. What am I gonna show? The first thing that I'm showing you is a comic book that I just finished called Acting Class by Nick Dranso, and it is so amazing. I'm also going to show you Wingspan, my new favorite game. I never thought that I would have the time of my life building an aviary, but I've also learned a lot about birds. It's a really pretty game. The rules are a little complicated, but I watched a video on YouTube that really made it easy to understand and 100% worth the money. This game kicks butt. It's really fun. All right, I think my tea is probably ready to sip. Oh, it's the perfect temp. Ooh, I really like this one. I feel like the evaporated milk and the honey is a very interesting combination. The nutmeg is nice. It reminds me kind of mulled wine, so it gives it that super cozy feeling, the aforementioned rainy day fog vibe. But I think the surprise of the hour is the evaporated milk and honey combo, which I'm really digging. Unexpected and yummy. I'll tell you quickly about this cutie little mug. It was designed by Julia Pott, who is one of my favorite cartoon illustrators. She made this show called Summer Camp Island, which was honestly one of the cutest shows ever, and then HBO canceled it because they're fools. Anyway, she put out this mug with this brand called No Notes, and I will leave a link on the site. I don't actually think it's available anymore, but isn't it sweet? Look at this little ghost doing pottery.
Hello Beryl, my name is Zoe. I currently live in Augsburg in the south of Germany. Today I wanted to tell you about Teetit, which means tea time in North German. It is the traditional way Ostfriesentee or Frisian is drunk in the northern part of Germany where I was born. Ostfriesentee has a long tradition in North Germany. There are even several museums to show our obsession with it. But it is quite unique to the northern part of Germany. There isn't anything like it in the other parts of Germany. To make it, you put some tea leaves of Ostfriesentee, which is a special blend of black teas, into a pot and pour some hot water over it and let this steep for a few minutes. Afterwards, you pour the rest of the hot water over it. To drink it, you put some Kluntje, which is white rock sugar, into a small porcelain teacup and pour the hot tea over it. The Kluntje or sugar needs to crackle while you pour the hot tea over it. Afterwards, you pour some heavy cream along the rim of the cup into the tea. The cream rises from the bottom to the top of the tea in the form of small clouds. You aren't allowed to stir the cup, so you can taste each layer of the tea individually. The first sip of the tea mostly tastes like the heavy cream and has a mellow flavor. The second sip is mostly the tea, which has a tart and slightly bitter flavor. And the last sip is mostly sugar. If people want to try this at home, I would say you should do it with your family or some friends and make a big pot of tea and maybe some cake and really try to stop time for a few hours while you drink tea.
I did have to walk from the kitchen to here, so I hope I did not stir it. I also just don't keep porcelain teacups in my house, so I am using a measuring cup that kind of looks like a teacup without a handle. What I'm expecting right now is a layer of the cream. Yes, it's very creamy and milky, but a little bit bitter. So then I'm supposed to go through and then it'll be tea and then sweetness. That rock sugar at the bottom, I don't know if the audio was captured, but it was not spooky. That sounded maybe like it was spooky. It wasn't spooky, it was cool. One of the things that I am gleaning from doing this is that tea in itself is a lot about the kind of action of drinking it with others. You know, at the end of the day, this is the same as builder's tea. Like, the sugar looks different, right? And like, okay, you put the cream in on the edge, but it's just about, that's just like the pageantry of it. And the idea of pageantry is really what culture is, and what the idea of this show is in a kind of a bit of a way, right? Like, we are all doing a very similar act with slight tweaks to it to our own cultures. And I feel like this episode is exemplary of that idea. It's just the littlest, tiniest It was very soft. The rock sugar really reminds me of being a kid and making rock candy. Oh, that was the best. And like, you were just like gnawing on sugar and pretending you were kind of like some sort of geologist at the same time. It was truly the best of both worlds. That was great. You know, the thing was, it was like you finished with this like really big sense of sweetness. I liked that. It was kind of like a fun little ending.
Hi Beryl, I'm Ahmet from Istanbul, Turkey, and I'm gonna tell you how you can make a Turkish tea. In Turkey, we love tea really much, and it is the important part of a Turkish cuisine. Average Turk can drink 10 cups of tea in a day. We drink tea in breakfast, in dinner, sometimes before sleep. That's why Turkey is the biggest tea consumers in the world. Okay, let's start how you're gonna make it. Turkish tea comes from Black Sea region and we use black tea. First of all, we use 2 teapots. Like this one, but it is electronic one. But we generally use classic ones. We boil water in big one. After the water boiled, you're gonna put black tea in smaller one, and you should brew the tea using the boiled water. Then we will put water in the big teapot again and wait to boil. After the water boiled, turn off the stove and wait 5 minutes. Finally, you can drink your Turkish tea with Turkish delight or baklava.
I went shopping for this one, found not only fresh baklava, but also the perfect Turkish teacups. I was worried it was still going to be hot, but it's been like a little bit of a minute from transitioning from filming in the kitchen to filming out here. It doesn't matter. I don't know why I'm explaining this to you or myself. Anyway, obviously the preparation was quite simple, and I really feel like this episode has had me thinking a lot about how I choose some of the recipes, because sometimes I'm like, no, it's too simple, why do it? But then I thought, no, I'm thinking too like producery. Because the idea sometimes is just to be like, this is how one place does it, and this is how another one does. And for something like black tea, none of the preparations obviously have been that complicated, but it's still been interesting to see within this narrow scope how much variation there is. You know, this is not going to be a sweet tea, but we all know baklava is very sweet. So together, it makes sense. Tastes like black tea. Ooh, she is sticky on the bottom. Oh my God, yum. Honestly, together, it makes perfect sense. This is so sweet. It is so sweet that your cheeks get like tingly when you eat it, but then the bitterness of the black tea works really well. There is this traditional teapot, right, that we all saw in the video. I didn't have that. I just used my coffee steeper and made a very concentrated version and then poured in more hot water. I feel like it works. I think the idea is just that you're drinking a lot of unsweetened tea and you're eating really sweet things with it. That's not to say that people in Turkey don't have tea with a lot of sugar in it, because I've been to Turkey many times, insert footage of me in Turkey, and I've definitely had my fair share of sweet teas out there. Man. Is this pistachio? I think it is. I'm just like chilling now. This was an amazing episode. I really feel like I did gain a new understanding and appreciation for black tea and seeing how it's made and used around the world in everyday situations. I am leaving a link to our other tea episode and to our coffee episode Which one are you all, coffee or tea people? I guess if you're watching this, maybe you're a tea person, but hey, you never know. I will see you all in my next video. Cheers.